And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? It is Friday. It is, where's my date? It's September 18th, 2020. Welcome to another NPCs Weekly News Roundup live stream. We are live not only on YouTube, not only on Facebook, but Twitch. I finally got the Twitch stuff already working. So, yes, we're live on all three platforms. So, for the one follower we have on Twitch, we're finally live. So take a seat, enjoy the news roundup. Of course, I'm joined by Kyle via Discord because everything is on fire in the world, both figuratively and literally. So hey, Kyle.
What's up?
All right, and in case you can't hear him, folks, please let us know through chat, and I will adjust audio as things go on. But we do only have a couple stories for tonight, but they're actually some pretty big ones. A lot of PlayStation 5 stuff to talk about, not only from all the announcements from the PlayStation 5 showcase, but the pre-order chaos and more. Of course, we got some stuff to talk about with the Nintendo, and then some strange furniture collaboration that, for some reason, has become kind of the norm in the gaming sphere now. So I'm going to go ahead and roll our intro, and we're going to get things started. So let's go ahead and jump in here to our first story of the day, and this is actually going to be the biggest story that we have going on right now. Of course, leads into everything else. The PlayStation 5 event, everything announced and revealed. All the news from Sony's PlayStation 5 event on the 16th. So this, of course, is a summary from IGN, and actually was one of the better ones that I did end up coming across for our discussion today. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. I think we're just, as we do normally, Kyle, I think we'll just go ahead and run through the list here of what was announced, kind of talk through everything, bring up some of the trailers for some of the games that were actually shown off too. So, of course, this wasn't necessarily the... Actually, this was the first thing that was shown off and was actually a very interesting one that they showed off, though. Final Fantasy 16 was announced. So when they showed off Final Fantasy 16... Oh, that is very loud. When they showed off Final Fantasy 16, of course, nobody actually saw this one coming. I really didn't. I mean, did you?
I didn't. No, not at all.
Huh, okay. Well, their trailer's all weird here, so I don't know why I can't show it here. They're actually showing something for Final Fantasy Realm Reborn now. I don't know why they're showing that. Okay, it's whatever. It's their side. It's not ours. Anyway, so yeah, Final Fantasy 16 was shown off. I'll go ahead and actually bring the video up here separately. But yeah, they showed off Final Fantasy 16 just out of nowhere, and it looks like a Final Fantasy 16 game. But, let's see. This is 16 trailer. Okay. So there we go. So I can go ahead and flip us back to that now. So Final Fantasy 16 was officially revealed, and the funny part, though, that is driving a little bit of controversy is the fact that this was announced as a PlayStation exclusive, but both this and a subtext, both at the beginning and the end of the trailer, put this basically being on PC at the same time. So whether this has some sort of timed exclusivity on the PlayStation 5 and then makes its way to PC soon after...
Wasn't it like neatly hidden at the bottom of the page too?
Well,
or on the screen.
It was. So at the very beginning of the trailer, it actually says this is playing on a PC with PlayStation 5 specs, is what they said. And then at the end of the trailer, it comes back and says this is coming exclusively to PlayStation 5, and then at the very bottom in subtext is coming to PC as well. So yeah, so it really looks like a Final Fantasy game. Your series of magic, your series of chocobos, of course, running around all over the place, though, too. Your monster fighting in that. Taking a lot of the combat that we saw popularized with the previous release of Final Fantasy with 15. But it's definitely very clean looking, very Final Fantasy-like anyway. I don't really know what else there is to say about it. I mean, it's a Final Fantasy game.
I don't know. It's kind of cool to see them go back to that like medieval more time period, since all the more recent ones they've been toying with the like pseudo steampunk, more modern medieval. I don't know what to call it. Mixing their tech with medieval. It's cool, but I don't know. It's also cool to go back to, just classic medieval look.
I agree. Actually, that's one of the big things that I do appreciate about that is that it retains the fantasy part of Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
but it does take it back to those roots of the medieval Dungeons and Dragons style looking environment instead, which I think is better because I think everything got a little too like techno heavy. I don't know if that's really the right word to use for this.
Maybe that is the best way to put it too.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean it
know.
is. Like you don't see any airships floating around in this trailer. You don't see strange, funky looking motorcycles. You don't see someone driving around in what looks like a Cadillac. You don't have any
Right.
of that in here. It's just what I would probably consider good old Final Fantasy is probably the
Doesn't
best
look
way
like
to
you'll
put
have
it.
any weird ass hop in the car and listen to, people
Hmm.
have a conversation or not have a conversation while you just go from one place to another.
Yep, exactly, exactly. So besides Final Fantasy 16, of course, being announced, that was set to be. They didn't actually give a date, I think, except maybe for next year in the trailer. So that's another one to at least keep an eye out for anyway on actual official dates. Going down the line, though, of course, we got a gameplay trailer for Spider Man Miles Morales. Of course, it looks just like the Spider Man PlayStation 4 game that we've already come to know and love. They did introduce their villain. Of course, I don't know if they actually gave the villain. Oh, they actually did. I'm sorry. A potential reveal of Tinkerer as the villain. Sorry. I must have missed that part when this was going. But overall, though, I mean, it looks like another solid entry and will hopefully continue on the way Spider Man has, since its release on the PlayStation 4,
And kind of cool though. This one's actually getting a PS4 release as well.
which is awesome. That is actually pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I thought Sony had the rules, and we've talked about it before, that anything that released on or anything they were planning for PlayStation 5 had to be just PlayStation 5. I didn't think they were going to allow anything going backwards.
Um, I don't know. Maybe they're just backpedaling now. Maybe the studio already had a good chunk of this in development for the PS4, and they were just like, oh well, we'll just continue to do that. Or maybe it was as easy as just flipping a switch to say, oh okay, this is going to be a PS4 game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you're not going to get the visuals that you'd get and the fidelity on the the PS5, um, or for that matter, the load times that will be pretty much non-existent on the PS5. But you'll still be able to experience Spider-Man. And then they did
That's a good
also
part.
announce with that game, you'll be able to get with a special edition that'll be $70, a remastered version of the first game.
Oh, that's awesome. I missed that part then. So that actually makes me really happy then to see that because
Yeah,
I
and actually
do.
the two different editions are going to be $50 for the core game, $70 for the game with the remaster.
Sweet. That actually does look pretty cool then. So that makes me want a PlayStation 5 even more. But that's a discussion for another story here down the line. So that's actually really neat though to hear. Going
That's
on,
one of those ones you needed to play too. So
I know it's on that list of ones I really have on there. God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, and Spider Man are the three PlayStation 4 games that are there that I need to play. So yeah,
yeah.
don't worry. And there go the dogs running around again. All right, so next up here on the list, we have Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy announced. So this is supposedly the live action, or not live action, excuse me, God, why did I want to say that? Supposedly this is supposed to be the MMO, like the open world RPG, I think. Maybe not necessarily MMO,
Right.
but it's supposed to be the open world RPG Harry Potter game that's been talked about actually for quite some time. We've known about it for at least a little while with some leaks coming out here and there, some images, some video in that shouldn't have gotten out. But we finally got our first official trailer of Hogwarts Legacy, though, with this. So this doesn't look like it's going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, though. But of course, a lot of companies are really liking the actual graphical quality coming off of the PlayStation 5. So we're seeing a lot of cross platform games announced first on the PlayStation 5, but they're all over the place anyway.
Well, and this also kind of leads back to one of the things I've harped on for well, since they've announced the consoles, that they're also the ones that are showing the gameplay footage, and we got a little taste of what it would look like in the gameplay. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe that's why they leaned into saying, "Hey, PlayStation, show us off."
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Yeah, maybe they feel like they
Yeah,
were going to get burned by Microsoft because of the lack of gameplay or something, which I still don't understand with Microsoft on that one, but
yeah,
they have their reasons. I can't speak for them on why they're doing what they do.
yeah.
But this
And then, of course,
but this
carrying on.
doesn't really show any gameplay though either. I mean, it has a couple little instances that do come across as gameplay, but nothing that
No.
like you don't have any sort of HUD that you can see. More likely than not, a lot of the cutscenes are probably rendered in the same engine, so you don't have anything that's actually done off to the side, which is a bonus.
I don't know. I thought a couple of the cutscenes looked like they were maybe off enough that they could be rendered in gameplay. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I mean,
So,
I think that we're finally at that point with a lot of video games and video game hardware that we're not going to really see many games like have cutscenes rendered outside of the actual game engine. Like, I don't see any
right.
reason for them doing that anymore. Like, I get the cinematic stuff that we see from like Blizzard as the biggest
Hmm.
example I think we can really use, but I don't see any reason for them to, to not do that anymore now. So yeah, but that's what at least most of
Yeah,
it looks like. But it looks
that
like it's a
makes
fun one.
sense.
I like Harry Potter. I'm not a diehard Harry Potter fan, but I do like it, so it's definitely one to check out though too. Of
Yeah.
course, we got another gameplay trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops. One of the big things, of course, with the Call of Duty Black Ops trailer as well is that exclusive access to the multiplayer alpha, not beta, but alpha, dropped today. So people have been able to actually log in and play. I was watching Doctor Disrespect actually play around in the multiplayer, and it's not like a Warzone clone or anything like that right now. It's your standard multiplayer, but it's Call of Duty. I mean, I don't know exactly how else to describe exactly like what we're seeing here in the trailer and what else is going on, but no, it's Call of Duty.
Yeah, and I think this is just continuing on with the not only Call of Duty just being there. It's the fact that they kind of have that exclusivity deal with the Call of Duty franchise. The multiplayer is gonna hit us first. Maps are gonna hit us first. They've had that for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was kind of like curious to find out for sure like what the exclusivity stuff might end up being other than the multiplayer part, which I think it's kind of a given nowadays that
Yeah.
that's what happens, especially with Call of Duty. It seems like the multiplayer. I know we have the Spec Ops stuff, of course, for Modern Warfare Remastered. What makes me wonder though still is zombies. It makes me think that zombies is popular enough that they might just mess with people and put the exclusivity on PlayStation. That might be the only thing because there's a
Ooh,
lot of people who are looking for that.
that's a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing to look for. But again, it's Call of Duty. Exactly what
Yeah.
everybody expects with it. We
Well, and now that they've done an actual zombies game, who knows? They could be, you know, DLC behind a paywall.
mm-hmm. They
So,
God, I really hope not. Yeah. But anyway,
or
again, yeah, so that was Call of Duty, though. I mean, exactly what we expect. Of course, we got another gameplay trailer for Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8, if you go off of the way they're handling these, this new numbering and setup, of course. Or if you want to call it Village Resident Evil, I don't know exactly how they want to call it, but yeah. So we got the new trailer, of course, for it. We see actually a lot more in the gameplay going on anyway, though, too. It's all the same first-person type of exploration and monster zombie hunting, exploring around that we've come to now enjoy from Resident Evil 7.
yeah,
Not really much more information going on here, except, a lot more of the cult related type activities and a lot more of like kind of the religious fanatics that have led to whatever it is that's actually going on in this village that you're in. Um,
I don't
I
know. I'm wondering if they're trying to pull some of like 4 into 7. I don't know, with some of the character design.
That
Like,
was part of my thought too. Like, could we see like the possibility of what happened in Resident Evil 4 kind of being expanded on further, or that it was such a good
right.
idea to do that they need to actually bring that over to
Well, and
to
you
a new
think
game.
about it. Chris was in 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe this is the kind of culmination tie-in to those, because I don't know, 7 really did feel like its own separate thing.
Yeah, it did, and that could very well be possible that Chris Redfield was working in the background
Or
in some way or another with 7, and now here he is kicking ass to do what he's doing in 8. But we don't even
yeah,
know what he's doing. He seems to be coming across as someone on the opposite side of whatever you're doing. So something to really
yeah.
keep an
I don't know.
eye on.
I need to replay 7 before I play 8.
I
So
I've watched enough videos of 7 that I feel confident to know exactly what's going on. I can't do horror games. I really can't do horror games, and
weren't you playing 2?
I was playing 2. That I'll play that, but that's about as far as I can really get. Like I don't have the stomach for it. I just don't.
I'll see. And when I replay it, I'm gonna replay it in VR this time. So
Okay, so we'll take that then as open casting. So Kyle is planning on probably dying, probably a heart attack or something. So if anybody would like to join the NPCs, please go ahead and drop us a message on Facebook, Twitter, and we'll start casting for people. Anyway, yeah. So the new Resident Evil Village is going to be coming out 2021. Moving on down the list, of course, we got a new gameplay trailer for Deathloop, which honestly looks like it's going to be one of probably the most fun games of this next year. It's
see,
another.
I get lots of like PS2, GameCube vibes from this one. Just
But
the style of game.
right, but it could be the charm of it though too, that it's
Yeah.
like we're going to give you the highest quality possible, but we're going to stick with something like that. And I think that's what's really pulling me into it. I just I don't know what else to really say about this game other than I need it in my hands. I I really hope that there's like some sort of like demo or something that comes out for this, or even more gameplay trailers than that come out though too, because we're still several months away from this game releasing. We're gonna have to have more of it hopefully soon.
Yeah, I mean, especially if the video that they showed is going to be like somewhat of a level. Give us something that's that short, even if it's not part of the game. Give us something that short just to try it out, get a feel for it, get people more excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's going to be like, I think they've only really talked about there being just a single player thing, but can you imagine a multiplayer component with that teleporting ability though, to be able to actually like jump back behind somebody to take them out? I think that would be
that would be really cool.
that'd be kind of a neat multiplayer aspect to it, or even especially if you could do this as a co-op game though too, because it looks like there's going to be enough story that if you could run around with a couple people, that would be kind of fun. But I
Yeah,
don't know if it's really going to happen. But no, I get the understanding though, like on the stylizing of it and that, where it can put some people off. But I think that's part of the charm though, that it kind of pulls from some of, like, even the description here that IGN says, it says featuring a very cool 70s vibe and a lot of punching, shooting, and stabbing action. I think the 70s vibe is kind of like where it leans in, not only with like the cell animation or the cells they've got there as a part of the trailer, but I think some of the music colors, some of the textures in that really give off that, like, we never escaped the dull and drab of the 70s. So
yeah.
I like it. It's what I'm looking forward to. I'm excited to play that one, and hopefully it'll hit Game Pass too, especially really quick. Uh, we, besides that, which this one kind of makes me roll my eyes because I
Yeah,
don't,
this one, it was so bizarre, but
I don't
Devil
know
May Cry 5 Special Edition.
why do we
Yeah,
need Devil May Cry 5? I mean, it's like, I'm playing the trailer here. I'm just gonna jump ahead in it anyway. It's exactly what anybody expects. It's just Devil May Cry 5, just a new
you get a new
tweaked
mode.
version. Exactly. You get new
You get
mode.
Virgil as
Yeah,
playable, and you get a new difficulty.
yeah.
I'm they're gonna bleed this franchise dry. I swear to God.
It would be nice if they actually would come out and say it's like, okay, well, this is just a placeholder because we got Devil May Cry 6 in development right now, but they didn't say anything.
Yeah,
So probably nothing. But there's really nothing else to say. That's about it
yeah.
that's
Because this
happening.
is like the third release of this, but whatever. I could be wrong. It might be just the second release, but still, I don't know. It seems like every time they put out 2 or 3 versions of the game, and then it's like, oh, let's do a remaster of the first 3 games.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know.
And then, of course, moving on, we've got the Odds World Soulstorm gameplay. So Abe, of course, is back, and we're actually seeing more of the gameplay that we kind of saw previously in the last trailer. I don't think it was a was it a PlayStation showcase that we saw the first trailer
Yeah,
for Oddworld? Okay,
yeah.
which it's an Oddworld game. I'm excited for it. It's
If you like puzzle games,
Mhm.
Oddworld is just fun. It's bizarre. It has its quirks and its charm, but it can also be pretty difficult.
Oh yeah, I agree. It can be. Like I remember playing Munch's Odyssey way back on the original Xbox. You know.
See, and I feel like Munch's Odyssey and Stranger, even as offshoot games, they had their own difficulty in different ways, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing compared to like the first Oddworld game. The one that got remastered for Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know there's a whole legion of diehard fans of the Oddworld series, so this is just another one to add to their collection to play through and enjoy. Which I think for something like this isn't going to bother me too much to play though. But if it is PlayStation 5 exclusive, then I might have a little bit of a hard time playing it. But again, we'll get into that here in a little bit. So yeah, see, it's even called Oddworld
I'm
here. So like, freaking IGN's messing with me. They called it Odds World, but it says Oddworld actually in the trailer. You guys messed it up. Thanks for
yeah.
that, IGN. Thanks for messing with me. It's my own fault too. Next one we had, of course, was a little bit of another surprise though too. Was a new Five Nights at Freddy's game. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, taking place at a new location called Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. It will bring new places to explore and new threats to avoid. Security Breach will be available on the PS5. Doesn't say it's exclusive to the PS5, just available. But it looks like it's going to be more of a walking around and actually like looking for exactly where the scary animatronics are hiding at, and keeping yourself protected and safe, because it is definitely a bigger, more open area. It's not just you sitting at a console with a camera anymore. But yep,
I
that's
wonder if this game is like an allegory for, humanity.
why is that?
Because, they keep buying haunted animatronics after people die and keep putting them into restaurants and shit keeps happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I mean, we humanity continuously does dumb stuff. I don't know. It's allegorical to me.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. But it does say here in the trailer it is a full-on console exclusive for the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. But again, in the subtext, also available on PC, not available on other consoles until 3 months after release date. So it has a timed exclusivity on the PlayStation 4 and 5. We did get a look at the trailer for Demon Souls, like an actual gameplay trailer for Demon Souls, and by God, that game looks gorgeous. Uh,
I It doesn't even look like how Dark Souls or Demon Souls has ever looked to me. Like,
mm-hmm.
I wanted to play it and I was like, wait a minute, I've never even beat Dark Souls yet. I'm still trying to slog my way through the first one. Holy crap.
Yeah, and like I can't even play Dark Souls. Like I'm just
But
that terrible at it. And
this one looks so cool.
yeah. I think what really gets to me is the fact that the actual character that's running around in here at the beginning is just one-shotting everybody. And I know it's just probably more so for the sake of actually like going through every part of this to kind of show off the character and such, but like I don't know. It just seems kind of funny to me though that it's like, man, you're just going through this so quick. Where do I suck so bad that I can't play like this? And then yeah, because I do suck at this type of game. But it's a neat looking one nonetheless though. Like I'm serious. Like I think I saw someone do a side by side comparison of some of the areas shown off in the trailer versus the actual game itself, or the original game. And man, what a step up! What a glow up!
I see. I need to see some of that, I think.
I'll see if I can find the link for the one that I was watching earlier and get it to you. But yeah, it's gorgeous. Like I think this actually looks really good. So Like I just like I said, I don't. I'm terrible at this game, and Preston I think said it best is that it's just because, and I think Dan said it best though too, is that it's just because I'm not like readapting myself to every other baddie that I'm coming up against. Not necessarily your just like standard foot soldiers in that might just be around,
Right.
your standard ghouls in that they're just around, but more so your actual bosses and your mini bosses. I don't know, like I really want to do better at it, but I don't know. I think it's just I think I've been spoiled by so many other games that I don't have the patience to do it anymore. But yeah, so Demon Souls, of course, definitely looks good. Interested to see exactly how the rest of that one pans out. So we'll just have to wait to see when that one comes in for sure. So not too long anyway, though, of course, to probably wait for that one. Anyway, of course, to nobody's surprise, we got a Unreal Engine 4 Fortnite gameplay reveal, of course. So yay, Fortnite's going to be on the PlayStation 5 at launch.
I remember saying, "Oh man, guys, look, it can run Fortnite."
Yeah, it can run Fortnite. Hey,
It's just,
and
it's gonna be one of those games that it's not gonna go away.
and supposedly it's going to be running Fortnite in like so it's not a part of the story here, but Epic did announce that Fortnite with ray tracing is actually becoming available here very soon, like in the next couple weeks, where people who have RTX series graphics cards will be able to actually turn on ray tracing and play with that dynamic lighting in Fortnite now. So maybe that's kind of tying in with part of it too, that it's like, okay, we're going to see how it does on PC, because when it comes out on PlayStation, that's at least a feature that we've already worked on and tested. We know is going to work just fine. So
Yeah.
that might be part of it.
I think the final trailer was the one that got me the most, though. Just the fact that we're gonna see it so soon. It feels like into the console's life.
Yep.
With the God of War.
Yep. Yeah, and that one
Ragnarok is gonna be amazing.
Yep, and that one was kind of out of nowhere. It's like we got one more trailer for you. So yeah, so God of War Ragnarok was teased just for some time this next year, taking place obviously, or at least should be after the events of the God of War standalone title that came out only 2 years ago? No, yeah, 2 years ago. So it's
By the
coming
time
up.
the game comes out, it'll be 3. No, I think it was 4 years ago, wasn't it?
2018.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't too long ago. Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
we've
so 3 years for the game, but
Yep. So we got Thor Ragnarok coming down the line now too, which is pretty neat. Last couple things, of course, though. So PlayStation Plus collection announced for the PlayStation 5. So what this looks like is this is looking more like a kind of like the start of a competitor for the start of the competitor specifically for Game Pass. And I know it's a little silly to say that, but that's kind of the way it looks. But it's a very small amount of games that are available right now. So if you give me just a second here to find that list. Let's see. PlayStation Plus collection. Game list.
I feel like almost all of those games that they showed are games that they've given away on Game Pass at one time or another.
You mean in PlayStation Plus?
Or yeah.
I was saying because I'm not playing any sort of not playing any sort of Uncharted games on Xbox.
Yeah, no, on PlayStation Plus, they've given away a lot of those games at some time or another. But yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be PlayStation's answer to Game Pass, like, oh well, not only do you get the free monthly games, but you get to keep those as long as you have your Game Pass, even if we take them off. But we're gonna have the selection of PlayStation exclusive titles and maybe a few others here and there that you can play just anytime as long as they're up.
Mm-hmm. So we got 18 titles in the list, and I've got this article up here from Eurogamer that actually lists out everything that's going to be in it. So we got Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, God of War, Infamous Second Son, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat 10, Persona 5, Ratchet & Clank, Resident Evil 7, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Until Dawn. So we get a very small subset of games to at least work with. But, Game Pass was the exact same way. Game Pass started out the exact same way, where it was a small collection of games, and they worked their way up to exactly what they were, where they're at now, which as of right now, I think like that catalog is huge. I mean, game streaming alone is 150 games, so it's got to be pretty close to even that just for Game Pass. But anyway, the last big thing, of course, was what everybody knew was going to happen. We got the prices for the PlayStation 5 and the digital edition. So I'm going to scroll back up here to the top of the article because it's got a nice little picture here. Thank you, IGN, of course, for this. The PlayStation 5 with the disc drive in it will be $499.99, the same price as the Xbox Series X, and their digital version will be $399.99. So a $100 difference, which, according to the information that has been shared thus far, both the digital version and the disc version of the PlayStation 5 are the exact same, save, for, of course, for the missing disc drive. So you're talking same hardware configuration, no downclocking of anything, at least it's been revealed thus far. So basically, you're getting a one-for-one experience. You're just saving $100 by going all digital. The only drawback, of course, to that one is that any PlayStation 4 games that you would like to transfer or possibly upscale to the PlayStation 5 version, you won't be able to do that with the digital version, unfortunately. So a lot of the stuff that's been talked about so far is that it's going to rely specifically on needing that physical disc to actually do it. I guess they're going to be using that as some sort of like authentication, kind of like the way that Microsoft had talked about it with the digital stuff that they were doing back at the beginning of the Xbox One's life cycle. And it sounds like this is going to kind of fall in line the same way. So a lot of the stuff that we kind of expected out of the showcase, we were going into it with the price. We were going into it with, at least seeing probably a couple of games we'd heard about. The PlayStation Plus collection was definitely new. Final Fantasy 16 was out of left field. Nobody expected a new Final Fantasy game already. Demon Souls we're already plenty aware of. We're already aware of the Resident Evil 8. Ragnarok being announced, of course, was another big thing to at least prepare people for next year. It was definitely a good one for Sony, I think, and we actually had a lot of good gameplay out of it, though, too, that we were able to at least see and enjoy. So good on you, Sony. And the console wars have definitely now heated up even more than I kind of expected them to. Just because of really the digital edition is what had more of my focus than anything, because Microsoft took a completely different route to this than Sony has. So I'm curious to see what happens. Very curious to see what happens. But anyway, that's it on the PlayStation 5 announcement stuff, though. But that's only the beginning of it, because like I said, we got a lot of PlayStation 5 stuff to actually talk about tonight, which actually takes us into our next story here. And just like my nice little image here hovering over right here, PlayStation 5 pre-order was a total nightmare. So we're going to go ahead and get into this story here. Let me flip over. There we go. This story comes to us from Polygon. PlayStation 5 pre-orders open early, quickly turn into chaos. And I don't think that is that's an understatement. So of course, we got a comment here from Sean on chat saying, "Oh man, I hope you guys talk about the clusterfuck that was the opener for the RTX 3080 yesterday. This will dictate PS5 sales too." Yes, I agree, and we'll talk about some of that too as we go into it. From the article, so officially PlayStation 5 pre-orders weren't supposed to start until Thursday, September 17th. Perhaps you expected to be notified of said pre-orders if you signed up to get a heads up on Sony's PlayStation 5 website. Instead, orders for the PlayStation 5 are seemingly open at most big retailers, which would be great, except for the fact nearly everyone is failing at throwing hundreds of dollars at Sony right now. If, for example, you try to look at GameStop's PS5 page, you might be greeted with an aggressive message that claims you've been blocked by the video game retailer. Message is forceful enough that some folks on social media seemed legitimately worried or confused about why they've been blocked by GameStop. Likely it was just DDoS stuff here. I'm kind of paraphrasing some of this. Even if you're not trying to order a PlayStation 5 or one of the launch games or accessories, you'll likely notice something is amiss if you tried doing literally anything else. As to this writing, GameStop.com loads everything, PlayStation related or not, painfully slow. So, of course, it wasn't. I'm going to go ahead and just go through the rest of this article here because this is kind of some interesting stuff to talk about, though. So not only was GameStop's page affected, Walmart was affected, Amazon was affected, Best Buy was affected, Target was affected, though, too. So an update, of course, to the article, at least from yesterday, though, is looking to order PlayStation 5. Retailers appear to have sold out of their initial stock at the moment, but we got all the details on digital pre-orders here. We update the stories, additional pre-orders become available. And yes, this does tie right back into the comment we had from Sean about the pre-order stuff and some other chaos that's going on in the world of gaming. Kyle, did you try to pre-order a PlayStation 5?
I was going to. I hopped on after the thing to check out their page to see if they had anything because in the actual showcase they never said anything about a pre-order date. And then I had heard that there, after doing some searching, that there was a good possibility it was going to be at 9 a.m. the following morning, which
Okay.
shouldn't have been a problem
Mm-mm.
because I would have been up. But at that point, of course, you had already texted me saying that they had sold out of the pre-orders, and I
Yeah.
kind of expected something like this to happen. But I checked out Amazon, checked out Target and Walmart, and none of them seemed to have them unlocked right away. Or maybe I was just, yeah, it was just my internet cache. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
I hopped on early, right after, but I didn't stay on late to try and get one or anything.
Yeah, and this just highlights a bigger issue. So, kind of like to what happened here is what the article didn't necessarily cover, but this is what happened all over the place. Is that a lot of the retailers decided to go ahead and open up their pre-orders early. Like I don't know if Sony gave them some type of blessing or some type of thing that said, "Yeah, you can do this if you want to," but out of nowhere,
From what I
Sony like
understand, it was Walmart opened and pretty much everyone followed suit.
that's true. That's actually
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
and
because Walmart had the first one. Yeah, they
yeah,
did. Yeah. So
and
that's
it wasn't any blessing or anything from Sony.
yeah, which like Sony I don't think has actually even really responded yet on anything either to talk about the pre-order stuff yet, other than the
Hmm.
only thing we've heard is that they are like there was some controversy supposedly that they actually may have had lower stock because of some fault during the review process of some of the consoles, that there may have been some silicon issues that they caught
Right.
just kind of in the quality checks. But none of that's been confirmed yet. Sony says everything's still going on and they're still pressing forward with the manufacturing of the consoles. But no, this highlights a pretty big issue here that there was no coordinated effort, excuse me, to work out the pre-order stuff like there should have been with all the people who actually signed up for advance notice. So
Well, and what's even more ironic is
it's bad.
if you remember back to the interview with Jeff Keighley when he got his hands on one of the PS5 controllers, and was talking to who was it for PlayStation, and they had said that, oh, you don't have to worry, you're you know we're gonna let you know when you can pre-order, all
Yep.
that information's gonna be available.
Yep. And
So
like they even said in the article here from Polygon and everywhere else, is that Sony had a pre-order site set up and ready to go. So that way everybody could go in there and actually register and like, get an email notification or a text or some other type of notification to say that pre-orders are open. And guess what? Nobody got those messages because every other pre-order was already going on before those messages were supposed to go out. So a lot of stuff got fucked big by Sony, or not necessarily by Sony, but by all the retailers here just trying to score on early pre-orders for some reason.
mhm.
Which, yeah, a lot of horrible coordination there. So I'm aware of one friend of, or actually, one friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, who generally does not miss getting the new console at launch, who was unable to because he was, of course, surprised by it. And every other place he went to, he was not able to secure a pre order in one way or another. So it's very likely he may miss out on his very first launch day console in quite a long time. I think he said it was about like 25, 30 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of a shame there. And then I've got a coworker who is actually part of a group where they try to do a bulk pre-order. of consoles, so that way, like for new consoles, for new games, for stuff like that, they kind of pool money to be able to do that bulk order. And they were also shut out too. They did try to do quite a few more consoles than I've ever seen anybody do, but yeah, it just did not work out in their favor either. So they kind of got the short end of the stick on that one though too, which is kind of a shame. But I actually haven't gone looking around for this yet. I'm genuinely curious here because we can get into talking about this here in a second. Let me see what. Oh, get out of there. Get out of there. I don't want that. Let's see. PlayStation 5. I'm just curious to see what eBay looks like right now. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here really quick and show you guys exactly what this looks like. So this is another issue that we're going to get into that relates to the RTX 3080. But on eBay right now, just searching for PlayStation 5, we've got a brand new listing for a console disc version confirmed order for $785 with $72 shipping. And then we've got $800 here, $800 here, $595 here. Spider-Man bundle with the like that looks like that's the disc version for $1,000. We've got someone here who's trolling, who actually took their Xfinity box and stacked papers on it to make it look like like if you squint really hard, you think you're looking at a PlayStation for $400. Yeah, so scalpers hitting really hard out there on hitting really hard on the reselling of these PlayStation 5s. And again, this is not the only thing. I will show you the other stuff here in a second. But it does show a glaring issue though in the way the pre-orders worked. It's a damn shame. Yeah. So that kind of leads us into this next one, which we don't have necessarily a story for, but it's definitely something to kind of show off here. So let me go ahead and switch my screen over to this because this ties kind of like right into the same problem with the pre-order stuff though as well. So for those of us who are PC gamers, NVIDIA announced the 3000 series RTX graphics cards this previous week, and they are now all the board partners are actually starting to ship their own cards as well though too. But when those orders actually went live, of course, we actually had people that were going on to eBay and scalping the crap out of those things hard. So I can try to find a picture, of course, here on the internet, but you can actually see, like, that's what the RTX 3080 looks like. This listing, of course, here shows it. Order shipped brand new for $1,794.98. This card, brand new, I believe listing price is $699.
Yeah, and a lot of these people, what's crazy is, and I think this might have happened quite a bit too with the PlayStation, but maybe not as much. Is a lot of these people were able to get a hold of them because they were botting the entire time. They basically had bots getting notifications and automatically buying the cards. So they would have them available to themselves so they could scalp the price.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That was a big thing. And then there was another part too where someone actually supposedly created a bot. Ugh. I don't know why I'm speaking all weird today. Someone actually went in and created a bot specifically to flood eBay with ridiculous pricing for
with ridiculous
those
bids.
Yeah, exactly. So you're talking like, yeah, so that's right. Thank you. It wasn't pricing, it was bids themselves. So someone actually created a bot to go through and bid $30,000, $40,000, $80,000, these high amounts for these cards that people did not actually have in their hands that they were trying to sell. They were just trying to sell like the card itself, like basically like them selling the order with a, 100 to 200% markup. So that was it. It was awful. Yeah, Sean, I can do that though too. So Sean says just search for highest price. So that's easy enough here. So let's see. So eBay, let's go back. eBay RTX 3080, and let's see. So sort price highest to lowest. Yep, that actually will work out very well here. So thanks for that one, Sean. Let's go ahead and bring that up here. Yeah, so there you go. So NVIDIA MSI 3080 Ventus 3X. So this is a board partner. So from MSI 3080. Going for $83,000.
Jesus. SSH.
at 26 bids. But more likely than not, that's probably all been bots who have actually pushed the price up. So there's no way that these people can actually get away with what they're doing. But yeah, it goes all the way through here of people trying to do this. And at the same time, trying to make sure that we, that people aren't getting scammed out of stuff to pay for these things at these ridiculously high prices. There's no reason
Well,
for
and
it.
another thing to
It
think
really
about
isn't.
too, especially with the cards, is it's not just gamers that use the video cards. There are people that are in like uh, industry with computer graphics and stuff that would use this card,
Yeah.
and could potentially use this card.
Yeah, and it's not even
So
graphics either. You're talking about people who work in AI, who people are working in machine learning, people who
absolutely.
work in video, who actually offload all of their encoding to a graphics
Hmm.
card. Like as an example, this stream right now is being encoded on a Radeon RX 5700 XT. And it's kind of funny because we're talking just about the news, and that's what it's doing right now. But that's fine because I'm not playing games right now. So that's part of it, though. You've actually got GPUs being used for forecasting weather models too. I mean, it's all over the place of what these things are doing.
So
So
it's
yeah,
really
it hurts a lot of people.
unfortunate that
Hmm.
yeah the people are going out and doing this. It's total bullshit. But
It is.
at least I guess we have some Avengers out there that are taking it back to the bots and creating the bots of their own to flood the market with ridiculous prices. So
Hmm.
maybe hopefully these people have to actually offload the cards at a reasonable rate.
Exactly. And the only thing that these people might be sacrificing if they're running these bots off of just like, their home computer off of one IP address is eBay blocking that IP address and being able to connect, but a small
Right.
sacrifice to protect the larger community at whole. And for those of you who are scalping on this, fuck you. Like
Yeah.
truly, like I hope, like I usually only wish like small things on people, like that I hope that like Starbucks gets your coffee wrong, or you stub your toe, or like you ordered a blueberry bagel but they gave you a everything bagel instead, or something, or an onion bagel. Only those little things. But I truly hope that like your car blows up, or that your bank account is hacked, or something else,
Yeah.
because yeah, you guys
This
fuck it
is
over for
horrible.
everybody. Yeah, especially as a person who's like a gaming enthusiast, like when it comes to like PC gaming as a big one there, and then someone who really wants a PlayStation 5 at some point in time. Man, you guys all suck. But I'm not. I'm stopping. I can go on forever with that one. That's for another day. Let's go ahead and hop in here to our next story. And again, like I said, this is a lot of PlayStation stuff today here because this is just fun for them. They're just having a hell of a time right now. So this one comes to us
Yeah.
from Ars Technica. Sony makes it official. PlayStation 5 won't natively support PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 3. So Kyle, I'm going to let you. I want to pause this video. Get out of there, God. I want you to go ahead and talk to us about this because this is not a surprise, actually. So yeah, tell us about this. What's going on here with the backwards compatibility?
Yeah, Wednesday's deluge of PlayStation 5 news mostly revolved around brand new content launching alongside the console on November 12th. Lost in the fray was the key detail that confirmed an August leak about PlayStation 5, its lack of sweeping backwards compatibility support. In a Wednesday interview, Japanese gaming magazine Famitsu asked Sony Interactive Entertainment chief Jim Ryan about the new console's compatibility with PS1, PS2, and PS3 discs or downloads. Ryan explained that PS5 specific engineering meant the design team was mostly focused on the simulation use of high speed SSDs and the new DualSense controller. This prevented Sony from delivering compatibility with the older consoles, Ryan told Famitsu, even though he made clear that Sony wanted to support PlayStation 4's 1 million players by developing compatibility with 99% of PlayStation 4 games. Since we thought that they would be like to play PlayStation 4 titles on the PS5 as well. Why would anybody play this? This announcement doesn't clarify whether PS1 games purchased from the use of for use on PS4 will transfer to PS5. It also doesn't mention the existing ability for players to stream older generation games to PS4 from PlayStation Now, cloud subscription service, or whether we should expect that functionality to seamlessly transfer to PS5 in November. SIE reports our reps did not immediately respond to our questions about those possible features. Ryan's current statement and affection for PS4 backwards compatibility is curious, considering he previously scoffed at affection for older console generations, as he told Time Magazine in 2017. When we've dabbled in backwards compatibility, I can say it is one of those features that is much requested but not actually used much. Um, that and I was at a Gran Turismo event recently where they had PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games. And the PS1 and the PS2 games, they looked ancient. Like, why would anyone play this? Ryan's take about the older generations probably wasn't helped by lackluster PlayStation Classic sales in 2018, though those were arguably less about classic games and more about iffy execution. As wrote about in PS5's rumor back Compact News in August, PlayStation 4 is the company's first generation console to not ship with native backwards compatibility support for disc-based systems, along with incompatibility with download uh, only software that debuted on PlayStation 3. That meant you had to hold onto your old console to access those discless games. The, this followed the PlayStation 3 receiving a major revision early in its lifetime to remove support for PS2 discs due to the feature running on PS2 Emotion Engine architecture built into early PS3s, which was dumped to cut costs. Comparatively, Microsoft has aggressively countered uh, or courted fans of older games with a backwards compatibility sales pitch on both Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles. That means gamers in Xbox ecosystem can expect native access to previous purchase, whether in disc form or as a digital purchase, across multiple console generations and uh, resolution and performance upgrades on game by game basis. We're still waiting to hear whether PS4 games that struggled with performance issues might receive PS5 specific upgrades, though the PS4's Pro Optimal Boost already made clear that certain games, like Bloodborne, would need special patches to take advantage of the newer hardware. That, of course, we know already. Bloodborne is going to be one of the PlayStation Plus uh, ones for the new
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
Uh, Wednesday's dump of PlayStation 5 news did not go into further detail about additional boosts to PlayStation 4 games as played on upcoming sales. Instead, we learned that some major PlayStation 5 games, particularly Horizon Forbidden West and Marvel Spider Man Miles Morales, will launch simultaneously on PS5 and PS4. This appears to run somewhat counter to Sony's recent comment about maintaining generations instead of supporting an Xbox style forward compatible plan for its biggest games.
Hmm. So in the comments, of course, Alex goes back. We actually had a comment here from Alex that says, "Still play those games, but maybe I'm in the minority." And I really don't think you're in the minority. I think there's a lot of people. I think you see more of the backwards compatibility, not necessarily for like racing games or sports games or anything. I think a lot of the RPG games, your story games, your action games, those are the ones that people really go back to. And the ones that usually sell more and more of are usually see like more sales on sports games. Usually see more sales on racing games. Sports games more so than that. If you want to tie racing into it, then whatever. Just sports games in general. You don't usually see people going back to play like say Madden 15 when Madden 20 is supposed to be like the best of the best or something. Even though I hear different about that. I'm just saying though is that you don't usually see that. So I think you're not necessarily in the minority, Alex, but I think that what it comes down to is that it's the type of games that people want to go back to play, and because the the both the game developers, the publishers, and the console manufacturers see these classic games as something that people are asking for. That's why we see remasters, because then you don't have to go
Yeah.
back to play those games in their original form. It's like, here's something that's been polished up, that looks, the graphics may not necessarily look the best, but we did the best we could to make them work on this console so they don't look like crap. We've made the controls at least the same. We've added in a little bit of functionality to make it work with the console, including, like, for the PlayStation, trophies, or on Xbox achievements. But that's why those exist. That's why, like, remasters happen, is so that way you don't have to go back and do that, and they can justify a way to not do backwards compatibility, or they make you hold on to your older consoles so that way you can continue playing those games in their original form. But that's just that. Now, going back to our previous story, though, of course, from Sean, he says, what's worse is, that some unknowing parent can't say no to their kid and will pay an eBay price for that shit. Yes, that's very true. Although, fortunately, I'm well versed in buying technology off the internet, so I fall into that subset that understands that, yeah, I'm never going to spend $25,000-$30,000 on a graphics card for my kid. I mean, I'm probably going to spend maybe $300. Not that. No, I'm not that kind of parent. Anyway, so yeah, so sitting here with this, I think we kind of had that feeling, Kyle. Maybe I'm speaking for just myself, but maybe we were both kind of going the same way, that backwards compatibility was going to be the crux of I think I'm using the right word, of the PlayStation 5 launch. That was going to be the hiccup in everything, that backwards compatibility support was going to be just iffy enough that it probably wasn't going to happen. And here we are. Yeah, and of course, we got our leak of it from Ubisoft. I believe it was this last week or a couple weeks ago in the news that we talked about, where backwards compatibility wasn't going to happen. And now here we are. It maybe down the line we'll see some emulation for it, but I don't know. I don't know.
It really does kind of go to show, though, that maybe it is just that switch that PlayStation needs to flip to say, okay, we're going to allow it,
Yeah, depends on the outcry, honestly.
I don't know. I feel like to PlayStation and to Sony interactive entertainment in general, though, they come at it with just very, very warily, because in the past, they've opened themselves up to be taken advantage of in that aspect. With the PS3, you were able to load Linux on it, and Jesus, look at it, some of the mods that came from that.
Not even that. Don't forget the Department of Defense actually bought up a whole bunch of PlayStation 3s, networked them together, and made a server farm out of PlayStation 3s.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
but I mean, they've opened themselves up in the past for both good and bad, but I mean, they've been taken advantage of. So I think that's maybe why they're wary about it.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it's probably easier for Microsoft to actually do the backwards compatibility than the other ones is that the Xbox 360, Xbox One, and now the Series X have all been built on some type of almost like Windows base. Like you couldn't go install like Windows 10 on an Xbox One, or Windows Windows XP on an Xbox. But the base layer of it is truly Windows, and then everything else on there is just
architecture is very easy. Whereas you look at like the PS3 with their architecture, that was something completely weird. A lot of developers even said that the PS3 was extremely difficult to develop for, and that's why a lot of people were very standoffish in those first 3 years of like the PlayStation 3 lifespan.
Exactly.
But and especially coming from like the PlayStation 2, where they had such a huge success, and it was such an easy console to develop for. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's like that's where Xbox kind of wins right now on the backwards compatibility support. Of course, they've said that, of course, because they've actually said specifically that they were going to support it, but they're only going to support so far, specifically like in titles and that, which is good for them anyway. And yeah, and Sean actually says it exactly correct. Thank you for the reminder on that one, is that it's like that's where the Xbox got its name, is because it's the Direct Xbox. It's the DirectX API. Thank you, Sean. That's absolutely right. I back in the day I had read a book, what is it? It's Inside the Xbox, I think, when they were actually working on the development and build out of the first Xbox. And yeah, that was a big part of it. So thank you, Sean, for that reminder. Truly appreciate that one and the help for that one to remind us of where that all came from. But yeah, so I think Microsoft really wins that one, but you're going to see more and more remasters of stuff come out to actually defeat the need for that backwards compatibility. You know, depending on the game, of course, and the actual outcry for whichever game it's going to be anyway.
And maybe not, but maybe the fact that Xbox is so laser focused on having that availability to their consoles,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to make access to those previous generation games that you could possibly still have in your library. Maybe it'll force Sony's hand in it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think about it, Sony was actually the first one to partner with any sort of Steam, so you could communicate with like Steam players and
Oh, that's right.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not it's like PlayStation like wants to try to think outside of the box to a point. Nintendo really thinks outside of the box. I mean, look at their console development, you know, over
yeah,
their entire life. You know, Microsoft, of course, has been a completely different animal anyway, though, too. But yeah, which is, it's whatever. Everybody has their niche. Each console has their, or console manufacturer has their own niche. But yeah. Speaking of console manufacturers, this one was a little bit of a surprise, but I don't really think it should be for anybody. This story comes to us from The Verge. Nintendo has discontinued the 3DS. Nintendo has discontinued every model of the 3DS according to its Japanese website. The page listings for the new 3DS LL, new 2DS LL, and 2DS are still live, but each product lists out of production under its name and a message on the main page that says the entire series has ended production. It's not clear when the change was made. Several Japanese Twitter users noticed it this afternoon, which this was published yesterday. Nintendo US site, meanwhile, appears to have scrubbed all mentions of the 3DS sometime in the past few hours. Homepage doesn't feature the handheld console at all, other than a support link all the way at the bottom under a similar link for the definitely dead Wii U. The 3DS was announced in 2010 and released the following year. It suffered a rocky launch with low sales and little software of note, but it started to pick up momentum after a dramatic price cut just a few months after its release. By way of apology to early adopters, Nintendo made 20 NES and Game Boy Advance games available for free. 3DS received several revisions through its life: the larger 3DS XL, the improved new 3DS, the cut price 2DS, and finally the sleek 2DS XL. In total, Nintendo shipped more than 75 million 3DS consoles worldwide, fewer than half as many of its predecessor, the phenomenally popular DS, but overall the system can be seen as a success and helped steer the company through the rocky Wii U years with more than 384 million games sold. It's gone. I mean, like, I don't know what else to
wow,
say about that. That's so crazy to think that the 3DS is actually finally hit that point. And it makes me wonder if we're now at that stage where the Switch is going to be the end all be all console now for Nintendo. That we're not going to see another Game Boy type console because the Switch actually fits that profile now. I mean,
yeah.
that's
I don't know. I this makes me think that, and maybe this is just a stretch, that maybe some of those new console rumors could be a real thing, because that just means, you know, that they're willing to let go and really focus, get laser focused on the Switch as a console family, maybe even.
yeah, and that we'll see. That's what still leads me into our kind of like discussions that we've had about like, you know, the possible Switch Pro or the next generation, whatever the next generation of Switch is going to be. Do you remember the PS Vita TV, Kyle?
Yeah.
I wonder if Nintendo's going to go a route similar to that with the next version of Switch, that may have some sort of like 3DS like functionality built into it, like a dock or something like that, that allows you to put in a 3DS game. And even though you don't get the 3DS feature of it, you know, it'd be more like, of course, a 2DS anyway. Would you be able to like output that and say, you know, while the dock is plugged into your TV, you can see the one screen for the, you know, the top screen for the DS on your TV and the bottom screen on your Switch, while it's in your hands, kind of like how they did with the Wii U. You know,
Oh yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that would be the only thing I can think of because, obviously, of course, there's still a ton of 3DS games out there that are very popular. There's still a lot of people who are going crazy playing, you know, I can't even name any of the games. I haven't played 3DS in so long, but there's got to be a lot of stuff going on out there. So excuse me on that one, folks, but I'm sure there's probably a lot of stuff. I was getting ready to name a game, but then as soon as it popped back in my head, I'm like, no, that was released on Switch. Which honestly, I think our sign of what was going to happen was that the newest Pokemon game was released on Switch. Sword and Shield
Oh
were
yeah.
released on Switch. It did not. This was the first break. This was the first console break or first handheld break for a Pokemon game, which I don't count Pokemon Let's Go. I'm talking an actual full-on story Pokemon game breakaway, and here we have it. I think that was really kind of the first sign for everybody that should have said such. So here we
Because
are.
yeah, the previous to that was GameCube.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least the Wii and I think the Wii U, no, mostly the Wii, supported GameCube games though. At least it had that backwards compatibility to
Yeah.
support the GameCube discs. So I would think that Nintendo would want to, in one way or another, somehow support 3DS owners by at least offering something with the Switch. Because I'm sure a lot of people who own a 3DS probably own a Switch. So, but yeah, so Nintendo 3DS, we salute you. I was a member of that ambassadors program. That was the program where they gave away the 20 NES and Game Boy Advance games for free because I had bought a launch 3DS, one of the little emerald green ones. And then I sold that to get a Nexus 7 tablet, which then I sold to buy, I think, a Vita. And then I sold the Vita to pay for a hotel room somewhere because I was traveling for something. Fuck, I don't even know. I've had too many consoles in my life. I don't know what I've done with all of them. Anyway, yeah, so 3DS, we salute you. Thank you for all the fun times, of course, and hopefully those games will continue to carry on by having some sort of dock or attachment for whatever the next Switch is. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up this surprisingly long news roundup where we've only got 5 stories to talk about. With this last one, Kyle, this one's going to be a fun one for you to talk about because I don't know what's going on. I don't know where all these partnerships are coming from, but it just doesn't seem to make sense to me here. But from Engadget, IKEA partners with Asus ROG on affordable gaming furniture. There's no word on what the products will be, but chairs and desks seem likely. So Kyle, go ahead and talk to us about this very awkward partnership.
IKEA has already jumped into tech with a smart home division and AR furniture app, but now it's making a leap into an entirely new category, PC gaming. The Swedish company has announced that it's teaming up with Asus's Republic of Gaming ROG division to create affordable gaming furniture accessories with a line of around 30 products. The gaming range will be developed by the IKEA Products Development Center in Shanghai. IKEA said that its designs held workshops with ROG designers along with professional gamers and gaming lovers to nail down the functionality needed for home gaming furniture. By teaming up with ROG, IKEA wants to combine its home furnishing knowledge with ROG's expertise in creating exceptional gaming experience, the company wrote. IKEA mentioned it would design and build affordable gaming furniture and accessories, though it didn't say exactly which products it would create with ROG. It seems likely that the gaming desks and chairs will be part of the mix. However, IKEA and ROG aren't the first to do such a collaboration, as Logitech recently teamed up with Herman Miller on a gaming chair. However, IKEA might take a different approach, aesthetically speaking. The company said it sees gaming as a cross demographic, so its furniture designs could blend in better with your decor than other gaming chairs and furniture. We'll find out soon enough, as the range will launch in China in February of 2021 and be available in the US and elsewhere by October 2021.
Okay, so we'll see some designs probably in about the next, 6 months or so. Okay, Kyle, I know you already know this. Of course, I've got my my Respawn gaming chair here, of course,
Yes,
that I'm
yes.
sitting in right now, which I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. My like the seat in this sucks, and I have a chair pad in it, which the chair pad only helps to a certain point. Like I can only sit comfortably in this for a couple hours, and then there's even some points in time where I actually have to like fall out of the chair because my ass hurts so bad from sitting in this for too long that the
Well,
pad
and I
doesn't
think
even do enough. So I like out of all the gaming stuff that they could release there, they need to make an affordable gaming chair that's not a bucket racer chair that doesn't cost $400 that saves my ass from falling asleep or causing me just chaotic pain. So yeah.
see, and I think that's part of the problem with the gaming chairs currently is one of the things that they focused on was just the aesthetic of it, not
Hmm.
necessarily that it was going to be long term comfortable for major gaming sessions. Um, and not only that, that there's also a flood in the market with copycat chairs too.
Agreed. Yeah,
Um,
mine I picked up at Sam's Club for like I don't know, $140.
yeah.
And even like the arm
So
here, like you guys can hear it. I'm shaking it right now. This is the arm that I have to constantly tighten up all like every like month, I think, because the bolts just come loose. I'm ready to take some JB Weld to the son of a bitch to hold it in place.
yeah, so I mean, this could be a cool alternative solution for
Hmm.
people that want gaming furniture, and it's not necessarily just PC gamers. I know too.
True.
There's a lot of console gamers that like those PC gaming chairs because of the aesthetic. But if we can get something that's aesthetically pleasing on that gamer, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, edge or uh, design that so many gamers like, or maybe even something a little bit different that's visually pleasing that is comfortable and affordable. That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's just going to be for PC gamers, like you said. I think, yeah, you're going to see it all over the place. Like, I think what you're probably going to see a lot of is, I bet you're probably going to see, like, um, I'm just kind of thinking on some things here, like on the PC side and the console side of things. So I think the first thing you're probably going to see is I think you're going to see an entertainment center that has some sort of built-in like outlets to it, so that way it's easier to cable manage. But at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time, it's going to have like PC fans built into it to allow for that additional cooling. Like they're going to
Or
be.
maybe even entertainment centers that could
Mhm.
be focused on having a computer put into the actual entertainment center.
That'd be a
You
big
know,
one, or even
because
maybe.
there's a lot of families that have computers in the living room now,
Hmm.
just hooked up to their TV.
Yep, I used to be one of those people too. And that's see, not only that necessarily, but I think like back to like server racks though too. Like could they possibly put some sort of like neat, rail shelf system in there where you can actually pull the shelf out and put the console on it nice and neat. So say you have to get back to troubleshoot something, or to change cables around or whatever, then it's easy enough just to be able to pull the whole thing out and get back there without having to actually, pick up your entertainment center, move it out of the way to get behind it, or struggle to find out where the cables are. So I think you're going to see an entertainment center with some type of cooling system and some sort of cable management system for power and for your video and audio. I think you're going to see a gaming desk that not only appeals just for your gamers who actually play on desktops, but you're also going to see them for those who like to keep their consoles on their desk. But I think you're going to see something for laptops though. And what I'm thinking is like those chill pad cooling pads you could get for the bottom of a laptop that offer more uh, air being forced in to cool things down. You just usually power them by USB. I think you're going to
Mm.
see something like that, like where a desk is going to have that type of like cooling system built in for a laptop, where you can put your laptop down on top of it and it's just built into the desk. And then whenever your laptop's running,
Or yeah,
it'll just
just
kick on.
USB power, USB 2.0, 3.0 power
Hmm.
built into the desk.
Yeah, some type of like hub. Yeah. So if you're
Yeah.
one who uses your keyboard mouse elsewhere, perhaps like I know some people who actually take their keyboards and mice back and forth from work to home and so on because they like their setup. You could have a USB hub built in with USB 3.0, USB 3.1 Type C, uh, video possibly though too. Hell, even on the entertainment center part, I was just thinking maybe more support for VR, where you actually have like
Yeah.
say a video output that you could plug a headset into. So for those who
Or
do put their
storage.
PCs, yeah, even more storage that's in line with like, yeah, this is how your controller fits in. These are where your games fit
I
in.
I do want to call out that Sean did say throw us a link to the Herman Miller chair, and it's actually $1,500.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up that link here really
So
quick because yeah, I trust me, I have seen this.
we talk about the affordable side, especially being gamers that do actually have jobs that we do. This is our fun activity. Um,
Yep. So I just
that
gotta rescale
that
this.
that's something that's not affordable.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
honestly, I don't even know if it looks that comfortable.
I've seen some videos of like the gamers who were sent this for free and have actually reviewed this.
Hmm.
Um, just they were sent it because I think they were big Logitech, not necessarily Logitech fans anyway, but they might be sponsored by Logitech, or maybe it's like maybe they were leaning towards it. It does look comfortable, but I can't imagine spending that kind of money on a chair. Like I
Yeah,
like that my ass wouldn't hurt or my back wouldn't hurt, but I
that's a
don't know.
lot.
Yeah, $1,500 is a lot to save yourself like that.
That's a big investment. For some people, that's a computer.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
Yeah, and
and
I don't
there are
know.
affordable gaming PCs that cost less than that, and they do
Yeah.
just fine.
Yeah, it's
So,
silly. But yeah, $1,500 for a chair is way out there. I'll spend that on a couch that could sit more people and is comfortable. Like buy theater style, like a theater style couch, and then
mhm.
plug my computer into a PC and then play with like a wireless keyboard mouse. That's perfectly fine for me. But not $1,500. Not $1,500. No.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Logitech send us chairs.
Logitech,
We'll
if
give
you're
you
listening,
praise.
please send us chairs. Please save my ass, but I just won't spend $1,500 on it. You're hitting the wrong market for it, dude. We'll spend
Right.
$1,500 to build a computer, but only probably, like I said, $130 to buy a chair that, yeah, only supports our ass for so long. Last comment here, of course, before we close out the evening. Sean says, my in-laws have a Herman Miller that my father-in-law bought used. My wife uses all the time. Don't get me wrong, it's comfortable, but not $700 pre-owned comfortable. Oh,
Holy cow.
oh
Yeah,
wow.
see, that's
No,
still
no,
a
thank
little
you.
harsh.
Yeah, that's a little harsh for sure. So with that comment, of course, shared, those were the big news topics, of course, in gaming for this week. I'm sure there's probably other stuff we missed, but the PlayStation 5 stuff really ate up a lot of the stuff this week. So, with all of that said, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into this week's video game news roundup with the NPCs. Of course, my name is Travis, and I was joined, of course, by Kyle via Discord. So, Kyle, thanks again for joining me tonight, dude.
Absolutely.
Of course, you can always check us out. If you're watching us on Facebook, make sure to follow us on there. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. If you're watching us on Twitch, go ahead and hit that follow button too. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you know when videos are up, when we are live streaming, when we are sharing our podcast, when we're sharing memes, especially the Untitled Goose Game one that I put up because, God damn it, does that describe us to a T. For our podcast, of course, we've got new episodes up this week. What are you playing? Where Kyle really doesn't know why Carry On is going on as long as it is. I play some Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, and Preston throws an absolute fit about what's going on with Avengers. We've also got our topic where we talk about top TV video games. So if you want to check that out, go check it out on our platform, anchor.fm/the-NPCs-podcast. And if you do listen to podcasts regularly, we're supported on a whole bunch of platforms. So we might actually be on the exact one that you favor the most. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch y'all later.